Good morning, good evening. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our next episode of IG Live called Friends of Friends. We are just waiting for our speaker, but in the meantime, I'm going to introduce her. Her name is Diana Franco. She is the executive director of WeNYC and launch services at the New York City Department of Small Business Services. And we'll be chatting with her in just a few minutes. We're waiting for her to join, and I'm super excited to connect. And as always, let us know if you can hear us. Perfect. Yep, it will connect in probably 1 second. Oh, perfect. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you? How's everything going? I haven't seen you in so long in real
Oh my
life.
God, this COVID-19 just threw off our lives. Yeah, we haven't seen each other in a long time. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Of course. I'm super excited to chat with you today. Are you back at the office already?
Yes. We have been requested to be back at the office full time. We all use our masks. So,
Uh-huh. Oh my gosh, same for me, but I feel like I like the masks are starting to like fizzle out a little bit. So every time I leave my apartment, I always, find myself like, "Oh my goodness, I need a mask. I don't know where it is." So
yeah, well, we cannot forget that in the office, but when I'm outside, it happens to me. Like sometimes it's like, oh, I think I forgot it. Yeah,
mhm.
it's
Okay,
the new
perfect.
normal.
Yes. One day we'll be like, "Oh, remember when we used to wear masks?" So we'll see, hopefully sometime soon. Yeah, so thank you again for being here. I read like one sentence about you in the beginning, but can you go ahead and just like introduce yourself? And I would love to also learn just kind of like where you come from and how you got to where you are today.
Thank you. Well, so as you know for the intro, I'm Diana Franco. Currently, I'm the executive director of WeNYC. So for those who are new in the chat, WeNYC, it's the official initiative of the City of New York to empower women entrepreneurs and to help them economically to start and grow businesses. But that's just like a little bit of who I am. Before that, I was an entrepreneur for 15 years. I
Mhm.
came from the tech world. I co-founded 3 tech companies with successful exits. And after that, I just decided that I wanted to do something different because the startup world, it's difficult. Everyone who has been there knows like it can be very stressful. And I was like
Yep.
my third time. I was on my third time. It's like, okay, I think I've done it. I want something different. And I came across this fascinating work. I co-founded a foundation to empower women economically, called Woman. Doing
Mhm.
that, I came across to the city of New York. We started to work in this initiative, and it's one of the loves of my life. And I feel honored to be able to do this. As I know, Justina, you feel the same.
Mhm.
Uh,
Of course,
it,
of course.
yeah. I'm from Colombia, Medellin. I grew up there. I passed most of my childhood there. I come from a family of entrepreneurs. Actually, working from someone else in my family is looking like you are kind of a loser. It's like, are you working for who? I mean, this was when I started to work for the city of New York for this initiative, was the
Mhm.
first time I was working for someone else. And my grandfather, who is like my inspiration, he was like, are you working for whom? You working for someone else? Is like, in my family, if you want to make it, you have to be an entrepreneur. Like, you don't work for other people.
Yes.
uh
And you
so
know what?
that
I love that. And I feel like no one really in my family is an entrepreneur, but my stepdad is. So I remember as a little girl, like he has kind of like law services in Chicago, and a lot of people in Chicago who are Polish know him. But I remember as a little girl, he had a desk in his office and his personal office, like he wasn't working for someone else. And I had a desk next to him, and I was his secretary. So I remember, like, because he knew that people want to meet with someone after 5, so we literally get to the office at 3 and we work till midnight, like every single day. And my mom would always be like, "Oh my God, like you spend so much time with him. Like you're here for the summer to spend time with me." And I was like, "But it's just so cool. Like I get to greet clients and like." So I feel like I totally understand it. Like I got that like bug from him, like. Totally get it.
Yeah, I mean, that's something very interesting. And when I was studying the gender gap in entrepreneurship, that's something that it really struck me. For a lot of years, we thought like the gender gap came from education or from many other more like hard skills. But actually, and I think it makes sense because I've seen it in my life, it's not necessarily about that. That women nowadays are more prepared than men in many or in most of the fields. When women are in a field, they used to be the experts on that. But it is really the soft skills that, I mean, like confidence, feeling comfortable with rejection, those things, like we aren't socialized that way in many cases, not everyone, that makes the difference when you are an entrepreneur. And I think the fact that I came from a family of entrepreneurs, it was a little bit easier for me. Also in my family because a few of them have died, but I grew up in a family of 8 men. It was like 8 men and me, and all of them were entrepreneurs.
I love that. That's great.
So
So
yeah,
you learned you saw basically what they were doing, and then, you were like, I want to do the same thing. I one of the guys. Basically.
Yeah, I didn't even think about. I mean, I think that's all that I knew. So when I started college, I was already thinking on. I was in college when we were in what we call the internet bubble. I mean, you millennials, you may don't know what was that, but that's when internet came to the world, to everyone in the 2000s. And then I was like that. I just wanted to jump in the opportunity, like many tech entrepreneurs. I left college to do my business with my friends, and then I came back to a school, and that wasn't like rare to me. That's what my family did. I did the same thing that you. I used to go to my family's business. We all have to help. Like I remember being like 7 years old, helping with the books, bringing things here, bringing things there, being in the office, even to say welcome or something like that, because you were part of that. And you feel some pride
really
on that.
teaches you from like the early ages to, even like simple things. I mean, customer service, like greeting people, that is so important in any business, So like you're learning those entrepreneur skills as a little kid, which I love. I love that.
Yeah, and I think also like you have entrepreneurs. I mean, we see that in the business world, but I think actually entrepreneurs are also very important in companies. Those are the ones who bring innovation. So I don't see entrepreneurship as a business skill I see entrepreneurship as a life skill. It's that thing that helps you to move to those uncomfortable zones, things that you do even if you are afraid, that you take like control risks, but you still take them, that you see opportunities where other people don't see them. So I think it's more like a mindset and life skill than anything else.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So I have a question for you. I mean, obviously you work with a lot of, small business owners in New York City and through your business globally, I'm guessing. But, a lot of people that I know in the corporate world, they always say they want people with entrepreneurial thinking. But like, how do you work with people who tell you in business or on your team in the corporate world, just like, oh, who do you think that you are? Oh, you want to start something new, you want to do this, like kind of like those people who like don't get that. Like, how do you have any advice on that, if you are that kind of a person? Because I feel like, I'm sorry that I interrupted you, but I feel like it's like this new way of thinking in a way, right? Especially in the corporate world.
Yes, and you are right on something. In like the corporate world say that, but once you are there, they don't like it. That's the truth. It's like they want people who bring innovation, but once they have someone who says, why if we do this way, they found these people that say, why? We always have done it this way. Why are we going to do it this way? So I think it's becoming a cliche in the corporate world. Like we want the entrepreneurial mindset, but once they have someone who has the entrepreneurial mindset, who speak their voices, who is there to say, I don't agree with this, with that, what I think we could do it differently. The people who have been there for a long time, they don't really like that. Or no, let's not say it could be like they like, but there is a resistance. It's something new. It's something like they haven't done before. What if it doesn't work? So it would also find like some resistance. So to me, something that I think that's actually one of the biggest strengths for women entrepreneurs. Women tend to be more socially, emotionally savvy, and they also tend to be or be more. That's why women are good at negotiation. Like they are good at conciliate. So I think women in the corporate world that have that entrepreneurial mindset have better chances because they have this thing that when they want, they can conciliate different points of view. They make feel people comfortable even if they don't agree with them. But my advice for those people that are entrepreneurs in corporations is that they need to be comfortable with rejection. I mean, they are going to hear, and this is also in the business world, they are going to hear 1,000 times no. They are going to hear 1,000 times that's not the way we do things. And this is where your business person comes out. It's like you sell the idea. You can say, hey, why don't we try? Why don't we run a pilot? Why don't we do like a small, like in a small version to see if it works, and try to buy in those people. And try once and try two. And if the manager changes, go to the new manager and try again, because it's not easy to break those patterns. And what makes you special in those organizations is the patience and the emotional intelligence to go and to receive that rejection or that pushback and continue trying and trying and trying until you get there.
I love it, because then at the end of the day, if it actually works, I mean, you've built something, you know, on your own. And I feel like I read somewhere in the book that they said that the quickest way to get promoted or to do something within a corporation or a company is to say, give me a department that totally is not working and I'll help you fix it. Or like, give me a team that is totally not making any money, that they're about to get cut, and let's see if we can fix it, you know? So I read it in like some business book like years ago. But I feel like that's such an interesting way of thinking. Like, sometimes when you join a team or when you work on a project or even on your own business and like everything is going so great, which in business is not always the case, like 1% of the time, but then things get boring, you know? So I feel like always like challenging yourself. Like I love that you said that, like eventually, you know, someone's going to say yes to you.
Yeah, no, and I think that's another thing that the entrepreneurial mindset has, is like you like challenges. I think what it becomes difficult is when you don't have, and this happens a lot in corporations, like the flexibility to move the things so you can achieve what you're achieving. Because that's, I mean, what I've seen in corporations is like the challenges are there. They tell you fix it, but at the same time they don't give you that like a space for you to fix it, because they have a way to do things. But if you have that space, it's so fulfilling when you can say, I fix this, I change how we do things here, and these are the results. That's being an entrepreneur, and that happens at home, and that happens at business, and that happens with your kids when you need to convince them about doing something different, and with your husband, and with life. It's just a way to do things.
Yeah, it's like a good skill set to have. Wow, this is like a perfect segue for my next question for you is let's talk about WeNYC a little bit. And I mean, a lot of people know this, but Rahana, who you also know, who's my business partner, we're actually launching a new business together soon. We met at a WeNYC event when you guys did that launch. Remember, I think Norma Kamali was there. We were literally sitting at the same table, and I was just starting WeRule. So see, we met literally thanks to you.
Yes. And I mean, you guys are one of our success stories, because at that time we were just running the pilots, we were just starting, looking if it works. And now we have all these amazing stories of women who started to come and they gain the confidence, or they meet at the events or at the workshops, and they complement each other and they launch businesses. We have members or people in our community who have opened like retails and tech companies. I mean, and that's the beauty of this work. And you ladies were one of the few success cases that we could share and saying like, hey, look, this company, they met at the events, they met
like
at
literally at your table. Not even like, oh, because we saw each other in passing, like we were literally sitting at the same table. So the universe was aligned at that time. So I wanted to ask you, like you just talked about, you know, being an entrepreneur. So you went from being an entrepreneur to then being hired by the government to run this a program called WeNYC, Women Entrepreneurs in New York City, right? So how did you bring that mindset to then building the team and bringing the programs out? And like, how did you like navigate that? Because I also know, we talked about this multiple times, that in corporate and in government, like things take time. And that's normal. Everyone knows this, right? Like,
Yes.
yeah.
No, I think that's the biggest, when people ask me what is the biggest learning curve, is that like patience. I mean, it's like, it's complicated. It's complicated, but I think the mission is so beautiful, like it's worth the wait. It doing anything takes more time than you. I mean, if in business takes time, in government takes like twice the time.
Yes.
Because, and I mean, at the beginning, I have to confess, like it was very frustrating, but then you started to understand like how like we work with taxpayers money. It's like it's your money. When people, I have people come to me and ask me how much is the membership to WeNYC, and I'm like, WeNYC is yours, you
Yeah,
pay
it's
for
already
that.
paid for with your
It's like,
taxes.
don't worry, just take advantage of every one of the programs, workshops, events, I mean everything. But because of that, there is a duty to be very careful with everything that you do when you are in government. So even if it's something simple like a hiring, like a vendor, the products that you buy, where are they coming from? I mean, and not everything is perfect, and many times we mess it up. But there is like that intention of being very careful of everything that you do, because it's the people's money, everything that we do. So that's the reasoning behind it. However, it was difficult at the beginning, but I was totally in love with what we do. I mean, every day when I was frustrated, all that it takes was going to a mentor session, going to an event, joining a workshop. And once I saw the women like doing the things that they were doing, sharing, working in the business plan, I was like, okay, this is it. I can go back to my desk and try again to make it happen. And I think
Yes.
that was my personal motivation. I also was fortunate at, I mean, at being part of a team in the city that they really wanted the initiative to work. And at the time, I mean, they were open-minded when I say, what if we have a program that talk about leadership skills? What if we talk about how women deal with rejection? I mean, we need to talk about funding, but let's talk about alternative ways of funding, because it's not the women that we want to help, they maybe not be successful going to a regular bank. So these
Exactly. Or
people
even a
were,
venture capital or investor. I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, venture capital. But for like a big percentage of businesses, that's not even the right thing to do at the stage that they're at, right? Yeah, there's so many
yeah,
things out there. Yeah.
exactly. And I think that they actually, the businesses that go to venture capital, I mean, it's like a very small percentage. What about all the other businesses? And the
Yeah.
women that we want to help is the woman like, I mean, it's like you, like me, that they have a job and they want to do something different, and they want to start something different, and maybe they don't have the friends and family to get the money invested in their businesses. So that's the thinking that we were, or that we have. And at that time, people were open to try new things. It was very difficult to execute anything, but I mean, difficult in the sense that it takes time. But we've been doing it. It's still difficult. We find new regulations, new compliance every time we want to do something new. But I mean, we've been there. We are. I mean, WeNYC was announced 6 years ago. It's now operating for 5 years. We have served more than 20,000 women. So we have tons like beautiful stories like you, and I believe that we are generating some kind of impact. And our last impact report, impact study, which we released last year, actually this year, but was from last year. It shows all of that. It shows like 60% of the women who have come through our programs are women of color. I think that's awesome. They have come from 72 different countries of origin.
Oh,
I mean,
wow. That's so
it's
cool.
like we are the United Nations of women entrepreneurs.
Yes. Oh
Yeah,
my.
it's beautiful.
Yeah. But on that note, I also remember that we talked when you guys were first launching WeNYC, and you asked us when we had a meeting, and you were like, "Oh, so what advice can you give us? Like, what should we do?" And you agreed with me on that, and I said, just give people actual skills. Just like don't do as much of like the inspiration, like, "Ooh, everyone's inspired." And you agreed with me on that, and I love that you executed on it, because you launched like this beautiful program for female founders that is all around like, here's how to do this, here's how to do your taxes, here's how you get a loan, here's how you do this, lawyers, you know what I'm saying? So you really like, I feel like I haven't seen that anywhere else in the world, that, you know, like a government organization is actually doing that, you know? Most of them are like inspiration and funding somewhere like, you know, that we don't know where it's going. So I love that, and I applaud you for that.
Oh, thank you. And you are right. I think that's when we have a lot of cities from all around the world. I mean, city governments coming to learn about WeNYC and visiting New York City to learn about our work. And I think what makes WeNYC special, and it was the first of its kind really in the world, and we are talking about 2015, it is that it's comprehensive. It's like, as you say, like, it's not like it's the only program of women entrepreneurs in the world. No, I mean, many cities already have it, but they have like networking sessions, talks, funding, classes on different types of funding. WeNYC nowadays has 11 programs, 11 programs in different areas, legal, like, and we try to do things in a way that we are proud of it. So for instance, our legal program is with the top 10 most, I mean, prestigious law firms of New York City. I have women coming to me telling me like, they can't pay 1 hour of these lawyers, many of them. And they can't get that through WeNYC. We have a We Master Money portfolio, which help them from the moment to understand their personal credit, how that impacts their business, how they go through, get funding. And we also have programs to actually deploy money on their businesses. So it goes like through all that. We have the other piece that is also very important, like networking, mentors, and we also have leadership skills. It's like, it's very comprehensive. I always say it is not perfect, but we really try. We try to do something good. And I think nowadays many cities in the world are going in the same path. But when we started that vision of having something that comprehensive, I think that wasn't around at that moment.
Of course, of course. And I mean, you had a tiny team, and you were able to, you know, to accomplish so much.
Tiny. Yeah, it was tiny.
Tiny. So my next question is like, right in the beginning, it's again about WeNYC, that you really had a lot of like, you released like a series of like mentorship session with a multitude of mentors. Like, why do you think like having a mentor or mentoring other people is important? And like, can you share like any like cool success stories? Like, you don't have to name any names, but just like examples of like what you were able to accomplish.
Yes. So the mentorship program is one of the most successful programs that we have. I mean, all of them have different levels of interventions and intensity and all of that. But I think again, we are talking about when we started 5 years ago, this was something that, or 6 years ago, that was still like, the world was still like waking up to, hey, women really need some extra support in.
Of course, and also on top of that, if whoever's listening now, tuning in, or will listen to this in the future, in 2015, I remember looking on the web with Rahana, and we didn't find one platform that was diverse, except for yours. But like, that's how we literally started from the beginning, and we were also like the first. Like, there was zero diversity. Like, even if there was like a program for women founders, it was literally people who looked like me, just like a bunch of white girls. And I love how like in such a short amount of time, so many things have changed and evolved. And I think it's so great, you know? So I remember those times. People, like, that's a good way to describe it. People were literally just waking up to like, oh, hey, we have female founders in the world. Wow.
Yeah, we are just missing half of the great ideas and opportunities and services in the world. Yes, totally. So at that time, I mean, nowadays, I think it still applies, but especially at the time, it wasn't easy for women to find other women that have done the things that they would like to do. So, and I believe like I believe now, we all know like women have different challenges than men, because let's accept the reality. Women have more responsibilities at home. The expectations for women are always higher. And things are changing, but recent studies even show that even now men are more involved in all the day-to-day things. There is still, it is not half. I mean, like 50 and 50. We aren't there yet. and women need to fulfill that, or even if they don't have to, it's like they feel it, like I have to be the perfect mom and I have to be the perfect entrepreneur. So they carry all these things, and at that time they have all these like dreams, but they didn't know anyone else who have gotten there, or at least someone else that look like them, that can tell them, you know what, you won't be the perfect mom and the perfect entrepreneur every day, every hour of the day. You will have good hours and bad hours in both sides.
And it's okay.
And it is fine. We'll survive. Your kid will survive and your business will survive if it is not a great day. We didn't have that. And I think that makes the mentorship program very important, because women that were starting in New York City, they could see themselves, and especially diversity has been always very important to us. I mean, we feel very strong about having our programs in different languages, at least in Spanish, because it's the most spoken language in the city of New York, and Mandarin. We always have felt that way. And I think for women, immigrants are, and there are studies about this, immigrants are entrepreneurs by nature. The fact that you are an immigrant, you already have the entrepreneurship skills, because you are doing all the things that an entrepreneur would do to start something. So that diversity was important to us, and having women that are successful, that can share their experiences, not only their knowledge, but also their experiences with other women, was fundamental to us. And the program, we have tons of cases of women who have supported each other, women who have mentors who have helped other women to open their businesses. So for instance, we have a mentor that is very successful CPA. And I've seen how she doesn't have to do it, because what the mentors do is group sessions, but she personally worked with other women to help them to organize the finances, to make sure like they are going in a good path, and how those women then succeed. So the cases that we have been, how they open their businesses, or they change the vision of their businesses just because a mentor was there next to them. Other thing that I really love about our mentor sessions, and this was intentional, is our program, we don't have one-to-one sessions or coaching sessions. We are starting that recently, the one-on-ones coaching sessions, but at the beginning wasn't that way, because we strongly believe that women have so much to give to each other, that we believe that those small groups were better. Because if what you need was expertise in social media, and then you are in a mentor group, you meet someone that is an expert on that, and you are expert in something else, and then you can support each other. And that's how you build businesses, because you build your social capital, how you complement what you don't have with other people around you. And that was the goal of the mentor, or that is the goal of the mentorship program, and it's been very successful.
Yeah, I love that you said it, and I think I know which mentor you're talking about. She's been a mentor for a while, right, with WeNYC. Yes, I know what you're talking about. She's awesome. But I love that he also created that kind of a mindset, because I feel like a lot of the stereotypes are there, like, oh, women at work are catty and no one's helping each other, and because there's not a lot of openings or opportunities, everyone's like taking each other down. Like, that's kind of like the stereotype out there, right? But it's actually, when you go to those sessions, it's literally just a stereotype. It's so not true. And like, I'm literally getting chills right now, because like so many women have helped me along the way. I've helped so many ones who are like, one step behind me, So I feel like you were able to like create like a really positive atmosphere too. Not just like this like cattiness and blah, blah, blah.
Yes. And I think that that's created because of we sit together in the same table. I think women historically, I mean, it's not like we have that idea. Historically, women that are on the top, as we say, like they just remove the stairs for others, not because they were afraid. And that happened. They were afraid, like, if there is only one seat in the table for one woman and you are there, you are afraid that someone else comes. It's just like the survival instinct. But that woman maybe wasn't in a table with other women, and find out like together they can get more done. And then you started to see, when we sit together, when we see how we can support each other, it's almost like an awake. I mean, it's like a realization, an aha moment. And you can only feel that if you are in the right table with the right people, and you find out, like, you know what, we can be friends, we can build this together. And
we'll build a whole table together, and then we'll have a bunch of seats.
I mean, like, why can't we have more seats? Why can't we have one women's table? Why do we have to share the table with someone else when we can do our table? Yeah, and I think, and it is also in a new, honestly, it's like new generations are a lot better on that. It's like they understand how to support each other. They are more open. They feel more comfortable saying, like, sharing when they are vulnerable. I mean, I tell my team, like, it's okay to cry at work. I mean, I have cried at work. We all cry at work. We all have those days when we think we are going to die.
I've had those moments in the phone booth. Oh, definitely.
Yes. So when women start to see, like, we are there to support each other, it's awesome. It's the power. I mean, it's incredible. I honestly, this was the first time I was able to work with only women, because in all my past experience, I was the only woman in the tech world, in my family. And I just can't say how much I enjoy what we do, how much like fun we have every day. I mean, this opportunity of speaking with you and speak with all these mentors and all these women is like, it's a blast every day.
Yes, I love it. And you know what, like something that really awakened me is when I read, and I think you probably know about them, there's this platform called Female Quotients. The founder was giving like a talk that I was at, and she literally said at some point that it will take us 100 years to achieve equality in business. And I'm like, absolutely not. I was like, it will not take us 100 years. We all have to get up and do it and support each other and let's go. Because according like to how things are going right now, you know? But to be honest, like looking back and how much we were able to accomplish like in the past 5 years, I think we're on the right path. And sometimes people tell us like, you know, like you have a platform for women founders. You do mentorship, you do this, and we do the same. And sometimes people are like, oh, why did you collaborate with these people or with these people? And I'm like, listen, until we have equality in the world, and there's no competition, like there's no such thing, like there just really isn't. So I'll talk to you in 100 years.
Totally.
We can compete, right?
Totally. No, yeah. And I mean, one of the things that I think it's been WeNYC successful is that in terms of organizations and nonprofits and all of that, to me, it's like there's no competition. It's like, I mean, there are nowadays we estimate that there are almost 500,000 women entrepreneurs in the city of New York. I have served like 18,000 or 20,000 of those women. I mean, like there is a space for everyone. I mean, like let's join forces. Let's go out there and bring these women and make sure like every woman who wants to be an entrepreneur in the city knows someone, have some resource, knows where to go. There is a space for everyone. The same thing in the business. I mean, I've seen so many businesses that are similar in concept, in everything, and they just need to change something like the target, the market, whatever, and
just tweak a little bit
for everyone. Yeah, and you can partner with this and this who's supposed to do the same thing than you, but there is market for everyone. Don't worry, and there's money for everyone. There is a lot of money in the world, so don't worry. You will get more if you work together.
I love it. I love it. So I know you have to hop off in just like a few minutes or so, but so my last question is, and I think I know the answer ish. So what is next for you? Like, what is your big dream? If you could wake up tomorrow morning, what are we doing?
Well, the problem is I have
takeover.
so many dreams that it's difficult to choose one. But I mean, I something that I have learned the last 3-4 years is that I definitely feel the same way I used to feel passion for tech. I feel a passion for supporting women, and immigrants also have a very special place in my heart. And I definitely want to end my life helping women. I really want to help women. I want them to succeed. And when I say succeed, it's not about money only. I think we need to redefine how we see success. And I believe
And
entrepreneurs
fulfillment too.
and fulfillment, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think women are starting to think differently about those concepts. And I hope to be there for the new generations, even in the city or in other places, and to make sure that we are supporting each other in all the ways that are possible. Because I truly believe, like when women reach all their potential, our world can be a lot better.
Yep. So coming soon. But see, I love what you just said, and I knew that it's going to be something to do with with female founders tech and stuff, because I know that you are actually very passionate about this. It's not just a job that you do, but it's actually like in your heart that this is what you want to do. So I think that you're a great example of a person who just found exactly like that space that they want to work in. And I mean, you can feel it, you can see it, when we look at your work. So yeah, so thank you so much. So the last thing we have is like surprise rapid fire questions, but they're just basically fun, and you can just answer them like in a sentence or two.
Let's see.
Don't worry, nothing scary. So what is your best advice to your younger self? Just like one piece of advice.
If you are afraid, do it even if you are afraid. It will be fine. It will be okay.
I love it. It'll be fine at the end. The next one is, what is your favorite brand and why? From like a business perspective.
Yeah, I really like Carolina Herrera. She is a fashion designer. The reason I like her a lot is, besides because she's a Latina, very successful, is because she started her business at 40. So I think many women who have had these dreams of becoming entrepreneurs, and they start to think at some point, like, it's not my time. I already like kind of see it, especially at the time she started. She's now like almost 80. It's like, oh no, the opportunity just passed by and I just left it. So I admire from her, like, doesn't matter the age, she decided to run her business and to try it. So I think I think the fact that she started later in her life is something that, and she was very successful. It's something that I admire.
Wait, thank you for telling me, because I studied fashion design and I love Carolina Herrera, but I didn't know that she started at 40. That's so cool. To me, she was just like, oh, she's been doing that since she was 12, Oh my
No,
God,
she
that's
was
so cool.
basically a housemaker. I mean, she was a mom, and yes, she was very well connected with. It helps a lot in business, but fashion designers, they can be very harsh within each other. Like
Yes.
it can be your best friends, but your thing is not that good as you believe you are. And she has like a very classic taste that, and many times fashion designers want to be like something very different and maybe wasn't what she was looking for. But she started later in her life, and she had
Wow,
the
that's so
confidence
cool.
to do it.
Now I have homework to do. I have to research it. Next is, what keeps you motivated?
Believing that it's something greater than us, and and it doesn't matter how bad today looks. It's there is a plan for everything. There is a meaning for everything.
I love it. I love that. And if you just wait like one day longer, things will get better. Love that. Love it. And one last question is, who is your hero?
I think my hero is my grandfather.
You mentioned him in the beginning. I knew it
Yeah.
already when you mentioned him in the beginning. I was like, this is going to be your answer for this question. And why?
Yeah, no, I think many people who knows me knows that he came from Spain to Colombia with nothing, absolutely nothing, not even shoes. He built one of the biggest marketplaces in the country with nothing. He took care of every one of us, like the Godfather. He was very, very smart, very confident in himself when he didn't have anything. He always believed in me, and I was the only girl. He never treated me differently. I have to do the same thing that guys, even though I was the only girl in the family. He taught me all that I know, that I have to be unique. I remember he telling me many things that I try to remember every day, like it doesn't matter what other people think. What matters is how you feel.
I love
And
that.
what other people think is their business, but your business is to be the best person you can be. So many things, and he always have been my hero, and he died 1 month ago. So
Oh, so sorry for your loss. Oh, grandpas are the best. I'm very close to my grandpa as well. He taught me a lot. But you know what's something so shout out to your grandpa and all the grandpas, but something that I feel like my generation or even your generation won't really understand is that same thing happened to my grandpa. It's like showing to a new country with like $1 in your pocket, literally. And then you have no support and then you don't have anything, and I'm literally getting chills right now, and just figuring it out and being successful, like that to me is like also just like when you think about all those stories of people who've done it. So next time we complain, we can't.
no, yeah, no.
Because
I
we
mean,
have it
my
very
grandfather
good.
wouldn't take complaints. It's like, no, don't. I mean, like, you can make it. I remember when we were in the economic crisis of in 2008, talking with him, and I was like, "How are you doing?" I was like, "Well, my husband works in Wall Street." So it's like, well, we are kind of concerned. It's like I mean, like the stock exchange crash and the world is ending. And he was laughing. He was like, "You kids, like the world is not going to end. Like worse things have happened in the past, and we are here." And
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love that. It's like for them, like that perspective. And I believe like we don't really honor older people as we should. And I wish we could kind of see all the vision and perspective that they have in life, and take advantage of every minute next to them.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love that you say that, because at the end of the day, like my grandpa said the same thing. He goes like, "Listen, like I went through war, like literally as a little kid. I was in the war. So what are you talking about? Like what's wrong with your life? Like get out of here." And I'm like, "Okay, grandpa, alrighty." Oh my god, what a great way to end the conversation. Thank you so much for being here. Just one more final question. How we support you? How can we find you? How can we connect with you?
Thank you. Well, I have to say that I'm learning to be a little bit more in social media. I'm not a social media person. Um, and it's interesting because I come from the tech world, but I also come from a family that is very private. So I always
Mhm.
felt like being in social media was like being too much out there. But I'm enjoying it now more. So easier to find in LinkedIn. It's Diana Franco, I think, NYC, New York City, like NYC, like New York City. And also I'm now in Instagram. So it's Diana Franco now, I think. I don't even know the handles, but you can find me, Diana Franco, in Instagram and in LinkedIn. Also, you can easily connect with the initiative through our website, we.nyc. You can find everything there, and there's a way to contact, which is an email that I often read. So, and we are here to help. I mean, there's nothing that makes us more happy than being able to help you.
Perfect, perfect. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I hope to see you at an event in person sometime soon. And total side insider knowledge, Diana always has the best skirts. I don't know if that's still your thing, but I was like, where did you get the skirts?
Yes, yes, yes. I love skirts. Don't ask me why, but I love them. I love them, and I have a couple of new ones that
Yeah.
I'll show you in the next event.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. It was so nice seeing you, and I can't wait to see you in person. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, and thank you to everyone for joining us. And stay strong. We are
Yep.
going to go through this, and we'll be fine.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, she does. See, with pockets.
Yes. Oh, pockets are
Cody.
very important. I feel very strong about pockets.
Okay, perfect. In the next slide, we'll have some fashion recommendations.
Of course.
We'll chat
Let's
about
do that. Bye.
that. Alrighty, bye. Have a good evening. Thank you.